right. All set?
I think we are.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Home Position, the podcast where we talk about all things Formula One from the comfortable position of our couches at home or our kitchen table at home.
We're moved. We're in the same room.
We watch the race on our couch. We are your hosts, Javier and Leslie Rodriguez, and we are here with the Monaco 2022 Grand Prix edition.
Yeah.
The recap of the Ferrari strategy shit show. So before we move forward, we want to tell you that this is being recorded for both podcast and YouTube.
So if you are watching on YouTube, smash that subscribe button. Smash it. That's what the cool people say.
Mm-hmm.
I've watched YouTube videos and they all say smash the button.
Yes.
So follow us in our channel
with aggression.
Home Position F1. Yeah, like you're pushing that brake before the chicane.
Give
on
us
the podcast and on the podcast you also can follow.
Yeah, you can follow us and give us a
subscribe.
review if you feel so inclined. Anyway, so now we get to talk about the Monaco Grand Prix, which actually was, they say, most seasoned Formula One fans are very tired of the Monaco Grand Prix in, I'm looking at Javi, he's sitting across from me,
I know,
but
it's weird.
I should really look
what
here.
do I look at?
It shouldn't be included in the modern era because there's just no overtaking. But this was a highly entertaining Monaco Grand Prix, I think.
Because of other factors. Because
Right.
there wasn't overtaking. There were 5
all
total
about strategy.
overtakes. 5 total overtakes. That's crazy.
Yeah, with 20 cars.
Yeah. I don't know. I really do have mixed feelings with the idea of not having Monaco because I feel that race is actually more entertaining afterwards.
Mhm.
As we are like listening and watching and people are trying to kind of dissect what happened. But during the race, you want to see lead changes and people passing other people. And, you don't get that in Monaco, especially with the rain, which the big problem with that is that creates one line of dry, one like the racing line is just one strip of dry asphalt or whatever, and if anybody tries to pass they have to come out of the dry lane and then it's a problem.
Yeah. So what would you rather it be gone?
I don't think so. I think just having it, it just puts pressure on the qualifier.
Yeah.
You just have to have a really good qualifier if you want to do good. So
I find it entertaining.
Yeah,
have no
I
complaint.
think it's still entertaining.
Yeah. So but it is, the qualifier is that important because it puts that much pressure because the track position is everything at Monaco. And if you lose track position, you're not going to get it back.
Well, yeah. And then it's, it falls into the strategies.
Yes.
And in this case, the rain kind of changed things quite a bit. And it made people that were further back happy because it creates a window of opportunity that otherwise they wouldn't have. If he's
but even the rain isn't what changed things up, which is just, it was.
It
was
does
the
because of the
tires.
tire,
It was,
yeah.
But it wasn't for what you would think. Like you would
Yeah.
think that the rain, because of crashes or driving off.
Yeah, actually, I was surprised there weren't
as
as many crashes. There was one big with Mick Schumacher splitting his car in two. But it wasn't all. I don't know. It was just like, I guess the cars are made that way now for them to kind of brake easily to try to absorb as much impact as possible.
And I think they were just being so careful.
Yeah.
Knowing that you can't make a lot of dives to pass.
Yeah, you have to.
So-
if you're going to try to make an overtake, you're risking just being out of the race completely.
Yeah. So let's talk about Ferrari.
You want to start with Ferrari?
Yeah, well, let's start with
No, I think that's unfair. We should start with Perez and Red Bull.
Okay, well, I was going to start with the qualifier. So let's start with how Perez fucked up qualifying.
Sure.
And that's all I have to say is that Perez spun out and Sainz ran into him, didn't have enough time in Q3.
Well, they created a red flag. So
Created a red flag.
It actually, Perez messed up his teammate because
Yeah.
Verstappen was on a flying lap at the very last, seconds of Q3 and he couldn't finish the lap. And
Yeah.
it was a decent lap. I don't know if he was
I
going
don't
to be
think it
faster
was
than
gonna,
Leclerc. I mean, Leclerc's lap was really, really good. I mean,
and
he
I
was
think it
on.
was also even slower than Perez. I think
No.
Perez was still above anyway, but yeah, so it ruined Max's final lap. And there's this great image of the three of them all kind of piled up at the end. And
right,
it's like,
right before the tunnel that was stuck.
yeah, and it's like, would you believe in an alternate universe that this was gonna be your 2022 podium for Monaco? And sure enough. But yeah, so he ended the Q3 with a red flag. Leclerc got pole and Sainz in second, then Perez third, Max Verstappen fourth.
For those that don't or are starting to follow, the big deal about Leclerc is that Leclerc is from Monaco, and he's been in Formula One like 5 years or so. He was with Sauber before. Anyway, he has never been able to finish the race, not win it, just finish it. And he was pole position last year, but his car broke down on the formation lap, so he couldn't race, even though he had, the first spot. So there is a lot of talk that he's cursed in Monaco.
And supposedly he broke his curse by actually finishing the race, but I think that it's almost worse that he finished, and that his first time finishing at home in a car that should have won, he wound up fourth.
Yeah, not even podium.
Yeah, that
Out
still
of the
sounds like
podium.
a curse to me.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
So anyway, let's start with Perez.
Yeah. So I mean, great for him.
Yeah.
He drove smart, so he didn't make mistakes, because that's the number one thing, especially with the rain.
Yeah.
Leading the race, he's gonna be under pressure, and again, he did what he was supposed to do.
And he was under a lot of pressure from Sainz. Sainz was not leaving him alone.
Thankfully for him, he has a team that has a good idea of strategy.
Yeah. Red
Hmm.
Bull,
I mean, yeah,
their crew.
they're a good team.
Yeah.
And that's why they won last year, obviously.
Yeah.
I mean,
It was brilliant. I mean, by pitting him for the Inters, it forced the decision on Ferrari, and they made the wrong decision.
Yeah.
So it was Ferrari playing catch up, and they never were able to, which you can explain more what exactly happened. But
yeah. So I mean, again, Perez, you're right. You know, he took advantage of his opportunity, and he drove smart, and he capitalized on it. And he's the first Mexican driver to win Monaco after he had his baby a couple of weeks ago. So,
oh, that's fun. I didn't know that.
So,
Yeah, that's cool. So yeah, he's now got 3 wins.
So he's got 3 wins. He was wearing a helmet that it was in commemoration of another Mexican driver, last name Rodriguez, of course.
There's so many of you.
We're awesome.
I guess me too.
So yeah, so he said like number 4 for the number of wins between both of them. So each one had 2, but now they're gonna have to change it to 5.
Yep. And yeah, and then Sainz having to settle again for second at Monaco, because he also came in runner-up last year.
Yeah.
And he was so close. I mean, he had the right call. He decided to stay out longer. He only had 1 pit stop, because that was a big thing. I mean, usually Monaco is just 1 pit stop, but because they started on the wets, they had, every team had to make the decision if they were going to switch to inters early and then switch to slicks, or if they were just going to stay out on the wets until it was dry enough to switch to slicks, which is what Sainz did. And so he was able to maintain his position, but he should have.
Yeah. So I'm gonna take a quick break here. I need to cough. I'm sorry.
We can put our commercial in there.
So yeah, with Ferrari, obviously they had the lockup. They were 1 and 2, and in a race like this, track position is everything. So you kind of have like 50% of the race won just by your position of your car, so where you start. The rain, like we said, threw a wrench of everything, but they were just terrible when it came down to, I guess, timing their pit stops
and deciding. Just decide whether you're going to stay on the wets or switch to
Right.
inters, but decide it earlier.
Right. They had to be kind of quick about it. So the difference is where that Leclerc trusted the team, and Sainz actually kind of fought against their strategies. They told at one point Sainz to come in to change for inters, and he said, "No, I'm staying out until we change it straight into the hard tires once things kind of dry up," which was a smart thing to do. Again, it's a slow race because there's traffic and you cannot pass. So even if you have a slower car, the chances of being passed are very, very low. So Sainz understood that. Now, at the same time, they got messed up by traffic.
Yeah.
You know, they pitted and they had the traffic kind of holding them back, and
particularly the Williams.
yeah, it was Latifi again.
Latifi holding back.
And Albon, I mean,
and
they were not. So the problem was with the rain again, one dry line. Even if you get a blue flag and you have to allow for somebody to pass you, by moving your car to the side, put your car at risk for, a crash and losing control, because you're still going fast.
Yeah.
Yeah,
they were saying that Gasly was taking the chicane at 170 miles per hour. I'm like,
I mean, they're going super fast no matter what. I mean, sometimes it looks slow because that's in comparison with the other fast cars, but they're still going 90 miles an hour, and that looks slow compared to the car that is going 150 miles an hour.
Right.
So yeah, again, even with the blue flag. So I think that was, as a Ferrari fan, that's my main complaint. Just how do they not take that into consideration? Where is your car gonna come in? Where is your car going to come out of the pit?
Yeah.
How stuck again? It's just, I feel that was very sloppy, and the whole Formula One world has figured that out. Obviously, Ferrari knew we fucked up.
Yeah, they have the. I read there's an inquiry going on right now with why those calls were made. Back at the factory, they're having a full review of the whole situation.
That's how it has to be. I mean, at the beginning of the season, when they made that, they kind of reached the pinnacle when they made that call of pit to overtake,
right?
And, the fake one, and all of a sudden, even me watching, I was like,
yes,
holy shit, Ferrari got a real strategist on this one. And then they start making all these mistakes, and it's just, you have a car to fight for the championship, and you were so far ahead, and now all of a sudden all this is gone.
Yeah, if Perez had won last weekend, he would be in front of Leclerc right now. It would be Verstappen, Perez, Leclerc.
Yeah. So again, it's actually real fun to go back and see all the different things that happen, or that kind of fell into place to allow the race to end the way it did. It was very special too, because there were, red flags and delays. And this time, because of what happened in Spa last year, when they did a procession behind the safety car for 2 laps, and they counted that as a race and gave partial points to everybody. After that stupidity, they made a rule where there's a certain amount of time where you have to run the race. So this race actually was supposed to be 77 laps, but at the end of it, actually they had a timer, and by the time that the timer ran out, they allow the car that is going first to finish that lap, and that's the end of the race.
Mm-hmm.
So,
but I think they had reached the number of laps that they had to finish in order for full points to be awarded.
So they have to reach, I think it was
75%.
You have to reach there's it's 25, 50, and 75% of the race to get certain amount of points. And once you reach the 75% of the race, full points are awarded. So
good on them.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not really much else to say. Leclerc was out for 4 laps on his inters and had to go back in, double stack, pit stop.
Also double
Carlos
stack.
Sainz,
I mean, he's waiting behind Sainz to get keep him out and come back at some other point. It was
depressing.
But again, congratulations to Perez. That was awesome.
Yeah, it was very fun to see him win. Fun to have somebody different win Monaco. The funny meme with Ricardo. We saw a really funny one. I think we shared it in our Instagram.
We shared it on Instagram. It's like, I used to run these streets. He's like, oh, with
let's get you into an alpha. Oh,
Yeah.
bless.
But after this, also a lot of Perez signed a new long-term contract, so he will be with Red Bull for another 2 years, which is
great.
huge.
Mhm.
We were talking earlier, like how Ricardo probably he has to regret the fact that he left Red Bull, because I mean, he may have spent a couple of years a little bit on the shadow behind Verstappen. I mean, anybody at Red Bull is gonna be, under the shadow of Verstappen, but Perez now is in a position that he can compete for a title,
Mhm.
like,
And at least be getting podiums regularly.
Yeah, and he's legitimate and he can win races, and Ricardo is not.
Yeah, he never got his mojo anywhere.
And he was
else.
already winning races.
Yeah.
I mean, he was.
I know, and it's like you can think about like how personality is such a huge factor in this. Like, Perez joined the team knowing that he was going to be playing that position.
And he did it brilliantly. I mean, he was brilliant last year being number 2, and he knew.
Yeah, he knew. And, Ricardo he didn't want to be second. He didn't want to be, under Verstappen in any way. And so I think that like his personality just wouldn't allow it. But I think that that's a fatal flaw because, now he's just retiring to an alpha basically. Because I mean, he just has he's not fun to watch anymore.
Yeah.
And hasn't been for a very long time.
Yeah, I mean, he won that one race, but even with that one, it's kind of like,
Yeah.
like kind of disappointing on the qualities, disappointing on the races.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of like fun stuff outside. I mean, again, he has a great personality and kind of has fun and stuff, but when it comes to race time, it's like, okay.
Yeah.
I don't even look where Ricardo is.
No,
like,
not anymore. No.
like it's not a factor, you
No.
know?
Yeah. It's too bad.
Yeah.
But anyway, we had a Mick Schumacher's crash, and then not a whole lot else happening in the Monaco race. Again, it is a bit of a procession. So unless you have something interesting with strategy or a crash.
Yeah, I mean, I think Gasly was the one that was the most aggressive with the overtakes earlier in the race when he was on, intermediates and other cars were still on wets. Vettel had a good overtake. Again, like I said, 5 total overtakes, 20 cars, almost 70 laps, and just 5 overtakes. So it's super boring.
Yeah.
But again, that doesn't mean that there are still changes in the positions because of the pit stops.
Right.
Now we're going into Azerbaijan.
Oh yeah.
We're going to Baku, which is not this weekend, but the next one. It's another street circuit. It's really cool.
Yeah, I think it's very fun to watch. Going through like all the castle, castle that they drive by.
It's one of those things that if we weren't before we started following Formula One, it's like Baku. What the hell? What is that?
Yeah, no idea. I still really don't know.
I know that Baku is in Azerbaijan. I don't think I can point in the map exactly where Azerbaijan is, or where Baku would be in Azerbaijan.
I'm pretty sure we talked about this on the Baku review last year, and how we actually had looked it up. And at that point, it's like, anyway, I'm not even going to try to say. I have thoughts about where it is, but I'm going to embarrass myself.
Yeah.
But yeah, last year Perez won at Baku. It was a terrible race for Max. He had a tire blowout.
Had a puncture at the very end.
Yeah, puncture. And then Hamilton should have won it. It was in the bag for Hamilton, and then
was that the button?
Yeah, it was a magic button one where he pushed it or missed it. He pushed it.
He pushed it.
He pushed it.
In a wrong mode.
Yeah, and so he just had to like pull right off.
But it's a really cool race. It's fast, and there is some narrow areas.
Yeah, it's very cool. And so anyway, it's a good memories for Perez, bad memories for Max Verstappen, and we will see. It's kind of up in the air what could happen. I don't think it favors particularly either team. It's just kind of because it's a street circuit. It's again hard to overtake.
Yeah.
So
we have a week in between.
Yes, and we didn't mention that Ferrari did file a protest against Red Bull for for crossing the pit line at the exit. What is the crossing the line of the pit exit.
Yeah.
And it was thrown out. So that was like some drama at the end. But by the time we realized that we were driving on a road trip, and by the time we got to our destination, the race had ended and we just turned it off. And then later we turned it on and we saw that there was a protest and it had been thrown out. So not a whole lot of drama.
We were safely driving while watching the race.
Right. Safely. It was plugged in. We were listening to it. It was great. I was watching it. Javi was watching the road.
Yes.
But it was actually fun to actually watch it
live
as it happened.
Yeah. Even though there was the plan was for us to watch a whole race while we were driving, and it was perfect. And then the rain delay,
45-minute delay.
We couldn't watch the whole thing. But anyways,
it was great.
Yeah.
So that turned out to be nothing. I think it was just Ferrari trying to distract from how terrible their strategy was, basically. So all right.
Yeah, again, the big news was Perez with his contract at Red Bull now, so he'll be there for a couple of years, we know, and that kind of settles it. I would think that Hamilton and Russell are going to be in Mercedes for at least a little while. Mm-hmm. Both Ferrari drivers have a couple of years contracts, same for both Red Bull drivers. I don't know what is the status of Ricardo in McLaren, because that will be the other one.
He had signed a long-term contract. I think it is up after next year.
Okay.
But I think there must be a performance clause in there, because there are talks that they may break the contract. So
yeah. So things are gonna start shaping up as the season goes, of like where our driver's gonna be.
Questions for me would be like,
I think Schumacher actually is in a little bit of like hot water.
Yeah, he hasn't had a great year. So, and I'm just curious to see what happens with Haas in general. Where's their money coming from now? Like,
all
right. So,
we'll see.
If you want to reach out to us, don't forget, smash
the subscribe and just.
And if you want to reach out to us, you can email us at homepositionf1@gmail.com, or find us on Twitter and Instagram at homepositionf1. Leave us a review if you have a moment. And anything else?
But smash and subscribe, because that helps us a lot.
Yes. Do it. We're hoping to get some other guests on here soon. And if you have any ideas for guests, or if you want to be a guest, you can let us know. Yeah,
we're happy to have anybody who wants to talk about Formula One. Yeah. We had Marisa twice. We had Bobby last week. Especially if there are people that like different drivers than we do.
Yeah. Let's get your opinion. Although we're coming around on.
Yeah, I think Red Bull drivers have kind of grown on us a little more. Mm-hmm. Red Bull as a team, we respect. Mm-hmm. We respect Horner being Horner and kind of being good at what he does. We respect their mechanics, of course, and their strategies. They're probably the best. Max is a little bit of a villain to us, but in a way, we also recognize that he's a really, really good driver. Yeah, and he's fun to listen to. He's straightforward. Good. He's like no nonsense kind of guy. And we were watching this kind of adds to our episode. So, but anyway, we were listening to the post-race interviews, and they asked him, because Monaco and the Indy 500 run on the same weekend, on the same day actually, and those are two races of the three. So 24 hours of Le Mans is the other race. So those three are like the crown jewels of racing, and only a handful of drivers have been able to win all of them. I think currently Alonso will be the one that could get it if he has to win Indy. He has to win Indy. Yeah. So he won Le Mans and he won Monaco. So, but they asked Verstappen like any interest in running, Indy to try the Indy 500, crown. And he was like straight up, like not even thinking twice. Nope. Yeah. He said it's not worth risking his life. Yeah, it's like not worth risking my life. F1 is what I do. It's enough risk. What am I gonna try something else just to say that I did. Which too also, he's won a F1 championship, so what else do you want? Right. Now Alonso, he's like 40, he's like an addict. He's 40 something. He's run, like he's done a lot of different kind of motor racing categories and things. So, there has to be a little bit of a personality to kind of wanting to get that done. Yeah. So anyways.
Yeah. So
Reach
we
out to
don't,
us.
there are drivers that we genuinely do not like, and I don't see that changing. Verstappen, it's like he's the villain, but we like him for it. So.
Yeah, like you have to have him. I mean, like I always talk with friends, like, again, I grew up watching soccer, and here, you know, there's a lot of like rivalries in like college basketball or like college football. Like, we live in Louisville, so we have Louisville, and then we have University of Kentucky, and that's the big rivalry. And you kind of always wish to beat him, and like I grew up in Chile watching soccer, like I said, and my team was Colo Colo, and you have Universidad de Chile, which is the other one, and like they hate each other, fans kill each other. It's like stupid. But if you wish the team to like be relegated or disappear, then you don't have it.
Yeah.
And that also means that there's no competition. So if your arch rival is good, that's gonna make your team better just because you cannot stay behind.
Yeah.
So you have to have that kind of, I mean, it's not a bad guy, it's just like the competition.
Yeah.
Like you have to have that.
Yeah. There's the Latifis, and then there's the competition.
Right. You have Latifi and Stroll. Canadians, come on, guys. You can send somebody better.
Oh, goodness. We don't even have anybody. So, all right. So now it's over. We'll
smash that subscribe button and follow us, and contact us. All the good stuff. All right, guys. Bye.